Thanks for watching the Pottery Studio orientation. The art station has been busy getting ready to welcome you back to the Pottery Studio. Lots of changes, and this is just phase one of a multi-phase plan to make upgrades. This video covers the studio basics. We'll be sharing more in-depth videos over the next few weeks, including safety and cleaning. First step is booking an appointment. Head to our website, theartstation.com, click on Studio and Appointments. It'll have information about available times. You need 24 hours in advance for requesting. Locations, you are looking for the Pottery Studio for annual members, and there's the different types of area. Location is Pottery Studios, and then select service area, the main studio, pottery glazing, or pick up drop off. Select the date and the times will pop up. Select your desired time if it is available, and then fill out your details, your name, email, phone number, and then put any extra information you'd like us to know, such as you're going to be a bit late. Just type that in the box. Check that you've booked the right date and time and location, and then hit submit. It will say done, and then it will reroute you to another page to answer the COVID questions. Make sure you have no symptoms of COVID, no contact with anyone with COVID, you haven't traveled. Be careful that you put the correct answer and read the questions, you answering truthfully, and that you understand the safety plan, which is on our website if you want to keep reviewing it, and then hit send. You will receive an email to confirm your appointment from the staff. For clay purchase, head to Pottery Studio Access and scroll down to the clay section. You can only use clay purchased through the studio. Hit the clay and it will come up with your options. We sell plainsman's clay, suitable for the cone 6 firing. There's 4 options. Select the one that you're after. Fill in your details and pay. We recommend 48 business hours to ensure your clay is ready ahead of your next appointment. When you arrive at the art station, it's best to head in via the station square entrance. The Bluetooth patio is back up and you cannot get through. The door should be unlocked when you arrive. If not, you can ring the doorbell for assistance. Try to be on time unless you've let us know. If you need to cancel an appointment, shoot us an email at info@theartstation.com. When you arrive, you're going to be asked those COVID questions again, so just wait at the entrance. You'll be greeted, and she's asked you the questions. Your first time, you're going to get handed a lock for your locker. The combination is on the back. There are video cameras on site. They're not monitored regularly. They're just there for safety and any issues. Read the full policy on our website. Restrooms are located on this main floor down the hallway, and then you can head on downstairs. Annual Pottery members have been assigned a locker, so when you get to the bottom of the stairs, you can find yours with your name on it. This is to store all your personal items. There shouldn't be anything else left on site that does not fit into this locker. If you have one of the top lockers, there is a step. On the back of your lock will be your code. We recommend you stick this on the inside so that you remember it. And then the lock goes through the holes on the outside. The locker is the perfect size to store your tools, maybe an apron and a block of clay. No food or hazardous items should be left in the locker. Do not recommend storing any valuables as you are leaving them at your own risk. We do have master key for all of the lockers. We will enter to put any purchased clay. If we need to remove anything that shouldn't be in there, such as food, we'll try to contact you ahead of time. And at the end of the year to clean out the lockers if you've left anything. They are standard dial locks. If you need help, you ask the staff for assistance. You can then head into the studio. So we're walking into the main studio here. And on your way in, you pass the mineral room, which is where the glazes are made. This is authorized access only. And then we also pass on our left the storage room, which is where things like clay is kept. Again, this is for authorized personnel only. There are hooks if you want to hang up your coat. Fire extinguisher is on the wall there. There's the kiln room and glaze room is on your right. We'll go back to there later. Emergency exit at the far end of the studio. And then there is another exit all the way at the other end of the station on this floor. We're going to do a quick studio tour. We've got the two slab building tables, the grey and the red table. And we've got a couple of wheels. One is currently set up. And this is how you will find the wheels when you come to the studio. We have a filtration system. This is to limit the dust and make sure the air quality is good. It should be switched on, but if not, the remote is on the wall. Here's the extruder, which is mounted to the wall. In clay, we have a product called silica, which is bad for your lungs, which is why we want to manage the dust. There is a shop vac, extension cable on the wall there with a HEPA filter. We never sweep because we do not want to disturb the dust. There's also the garbage. And then we have the slab roller. And then on the other side mounted, we have the canvas to use on the slab roller. Use the corresponding color to your clay. So you can see there the red canvas versus the white or gray. We have the drying shelves where you leave your work in progress and your work to dry. You can see people have wrapped up their work. The plastic is in the container at the bottom. We recommend wrapping it tightly, especially if you're not going to get back into the studio for an appointment so that it is still able to be trimmed. Avoid touching others' work as this is at a fragile stage, and find a spot that is easy to access. Clay is reclaimed in the studio, and this is where it is stored under here, and then the equipment for reclaiming on the bottom shelf here. And then you'll also see unwrapped work, and this is in the process of drying. We leave it out here to dry. It cannot go into the kiln room until it is ready. This is the mop for the main studio, and it's only to be used in the main studio so that clay doesn't go elsewhere. No clay is allowed to go down the sink, and this includes any water that has been used for cleaning and has clay bits in it. Instead, it goes into a slop bucket, and this is taken outside to be dumped. We'll show you how to do this in a little bit. And then the end here, we have the communal tools, lots of rolling pins and paddles for you to use, and containers for water, banding wheels, some scales, and the pieces for the extruder. And then we have some stamps that are available, along with some communal tools. These are for everyone, so please don't have them leave the studio. Lots of different options in there. Underneath this, we have the forms. On the next shelf is your cleaning supplies and sponges. And we'll keep adding to this. We've got hand sanitizer and Lysol wipes and cloths. And we've got some painter's tape and Sharpie to mark anything that you need to. The next shelf is for drop-in, and it is clear right now. If you put anything on this that is not authorized, it will be removed, so make sure that you keep everything in your locker. So the hose in the sink can be screwed on, and that's to fill up the mop bucket, which you just leave in the sink. And then you cannot tip this water down the drain. So instead, we're going to grab the slop bucket, and it's easier to transfer it from the mop bucket to take it outside. I advise not to overfill your slop bucket so it's too difficult. If you need any assistance, come and grab the staff and we can help. You're then going to take this slop bucket and carry it upstairs. all the way to the top and out of the exit door. It will lock behind you. And then we're going to come round to the other side of the deck and take it to the train tracks. And then just tip it out in the gravel. And watch you don't get wet feet. I'm not very good at this. Head back in through the entrance. If the door is locked, ring the doorbell and someone will be with you shortly. So there's different types of clay that are available to purchase, and you can see which clay goes on which table. So on the white table or grey, we have 3 options: the M340, the M340S, and the M370. They all look very similar, so it's good to label them. And then on the red table, we have the red clay, which is the M390. You should only use red clay on the red table, and the white is reserved for white and grey clay. Otherwise, you can contaminate others' work. We do reclaim clay, so there's a bucket underneath labelled for the recycled clay. You can see the grey bits in there. And then we have the same under the red clay table. So make sure you use the correct bucket. You can never mix the tables up. Under the red table, the boards are also stored. This is on wheels, so you can roll it out to clean underneath. On the board, label them with your name. Do not put it on the plastic. Stick it directly to the board and write on with a Sharpie. This makes it clear whose it is. This is the exit to the Bluetooth, only to be used in emergencies. We also try to keep this clear as Bluetooth staff need to get to their storage, which is here, and we keep this door shut, and only they are permitted inside there. There is a clock on the wall so you can keep time, leave around 15 minutes to clean up at the end of your appointment. We're now heading to the kiln and glazing room. We have an electric cone arc kiln. This is only to be touched by authorized people. The kiln shelves are by the side, and these are all the kiln stilts. The outside of the kiln gets very hot when it's on, so make sure that you don't put anything too close and that you don't touch it so you don't burn yourself. This is the Bailey fan, which is also should be left on. These are the Greenware shelves. This is where you bring your work when it is bone dry, ready to be fired in a bisque load. We start at the top here, number 1, all the way to the back, and then load down through the numbers. Do not touch other people's work, and definitely don't pick anything up by a handle. It's very fragile at this stage. You should go in order of the numbers, unless you have big stuff, which should go on this big shelf. And there are a few shelves underneath it. 1 kiln load, we generally don't get to these shelves. This work would be first in line for the next bisque load. Kiln cookies are stored here if you need to grab some, and then below this is stuff for the kiln, like kiln wash. When a bisque is unloaded, it is stored here on these shelves. Each annual pottery member gets a section which is labelled. We do not have a lot of space, as you can see, so try to move through all the steps of your pottery before moving on to new work. I know glazing isn't always the favourite, but make sure to not let it pile up. Here is the glazing table. This is just temporary. We will be upgrading it in phase 2 of the pottery renovations. Underneath are the slot buckets for the glaze water. These are just left to evaporate. As you can see, the sediment falls to the bottom and the water evaporates off. You do not need to remove these from the studio and should not be mixed with any other water. We then have all of our glazes under the shelves here. And then in the corner, the slips and other tools and sponges, things like that. And the underglazes on the bottom. There's also the paddles for stirring any of the glazes. Make sure these are cleaned. You do not want to cross-contaminate any of the glazes. So make sure that you wipe them down thoroughly if you do use one. On top of the glaze is the name and sample in different clays, and then often some information of when it was last maintained. The lid should be securely on top. It can be difficult to remove. You need 2 hands. And here is the lid removed. As you can see, the glaze separates when it's not been used, so you need to give it a really good mix and really scrape the sides and the bottom and give it a really good stir before you use it. When you are done, you want to replace the lid and make sure it clicks in place and that it's securely fastened so that the glazes do not dry out. Your glazed bisqueware should then go onto the shelves. You should start on the right hand side at the bottom shelf. Place the pieces close together but not touching. Keep filling up the shelves until they're full and then move on to the next shelf starting from the right again. Do not put too much glaze onto your pieces. This can drip and damage the kiln shelves or other people's work. Make sure you leave a good gap at the bottom. If you are not sure about a piece, pop it onto a cookie. This will protect the kiln and prevent damage. Before you leave, you want to make sure that your area is tidy, everything's been wiped down and left how you found it. This includes the floor. So take a look around. All of the tools are back and cleaned. Again, you don't want to cross-contaminate any of the glazes for other potters. There's a glaze room mop there in the corner that is just for the glaze room. Again, you do not want to cross-contaminate with the main studio. The same applies for the main studio. Make sure it's left how you found it. The wheels are all put away. There's no clay drops anywhere. And then when you leave, put all of your belongings in the locker. If they do not fit, you need to take them off of site. Having a Rubbermaid to transport stuff is advised. And this will be the drop-off pickup zone, so check if there's any fired pottery before you leave, and then head out of the art station through the exit. Thanks for watching, and let us know if you have any questions, and stay tuned for more videos.